As we approach Rare Disease Day 2025 on the 28th of February, we are presenting a special bonus series highlighting the stories of individuals living with rare diseases from around the globe. In today's episode, I, Julian Poulan, will be reading the story of Noah from the United States. Noah was diagnosed with Meesmann Corneal Dystrophy, a rare genetic eye condition causing debilitating pain and vision problems. His journey explores the challenges of living with chronic eye pain, battling misdiagnoses, and advocating for better awareness of invisible disabilities. Despite the daily struggle, Noah is determined to raise awareness of Ocular Neuropathic Pain Syndrome, hoping to pave a better path for future patients. Something changed in my 30s. It started slowly. I had worked with computers my entire adult life. Long hours in front of the computer take their toll on your body and your eyes, so I didn't think much of it when I began having mild eye pain. I figured it must be the usual strain of overwork, dry air, or maybe I was just getting older. Soon it became apparent that this pain was not ordinary. The burning pain did not go away when I stepped away from the computer. The glare from the office lights and computer screens became unbearable, and constant use of eye drops didn't make my eyes feel better. The career I loved and had built from the ground up, working with technology and helping people through healthcare, was quickly becoming a nightmare as the pain got worse. I sought out the best doctors I could find in the San Francisco Bay Area at world-class universities and hospitals. Agonizing hours of having my eyes poked, scraped, dyed, and examined all came back inconclusive. Some doctors were clearly concerned that my eye surface looked unusual but weren't sure how to proceed. Others were less supportive, saying they had seen worse eye surfaces and that it shouldn't hurt that bad. As my desperation grew, it seemed the doctors expected me to learn how to live with the pain. One day, I was told that I would have to decide if I was willing to gut it out and get back to work because disability would not be an option for someone like me. By that point, I was in constant pain. Every second I was awake, I was in physical pain like I had never experienced before. I would rarely dip below 8 out of 10 on the pain scale. I wore dark glasses and a hat whenever I wasn't at work to lessen the pain. Even a cold breeze or air conditioning was so painful that I would reflexively clamp my eyes shut. I finally found a doctor who took pity and provided me with pain medications. That just made the conversations with other doctors worse because they assumed I was only there to get more pain meds. Eventually, a doctor threatened to take me off all the medications I was on and put me on fluoxetine. He felt that was the best thing for me. That was one of my lowest points, but fortunately, I fought on and found an advocate in the HMO system. She saw me, and on the first visit, she sent me home with a letter officially diagnosing me with Ocular Neuropathic Pain Syndrome. She also gave me the referrals to new specialists, which would completely change my trajectory. I had heard of this condition before, but most doctors I spoke with were openly dismissive of neuropathic eye pain. If it didn't show up in a slit lamp exam, most ophthalmologists didn't pay much attention to it. Also, most neurologists don't deal with the eye nerves, so for many, this condition falls through the cracks. I travelled to dozens of specialists and read every article I could find. Eventually, a special diagnostic device called a confocal microscope gave me the magic words I needed. Decreased subbasal nerve density with increased tortuosity. Diagnosis, corneal neuralgia. That gave us a definitive picture of why my eyes were so painful. Over years of follow-ups with specialists, they made another breakthrough. One specialist saw a familiar pattern in the spotty appearance in my eyes. She dug through her records to an obscure genetic eye condition called Meesmann Corneal Dystrophy. My eyes were creating cysts that would burst, exposing the vulnerable corneal nerves. This pattern of damage and inflammation over the years, combined with my recently diagnosed autoimmune symptoms, finally painted a picture that made sense. To this day, I don't understand how such widespread damage to my eyes and the underlying nerves could happen without raising alarms with eye specialists. Doctors speculated about various diseases over the years, but the prognosis never seemed serious enough to convince them the pain required more serious interventions. Later, I learned that the DEWS, a National Committee on Dry Eye Pain, has updated their protocols to include neuropathic pain. However, there are still only a handful of qualified specialists, and many people continue to go undiagnosed, left to fend for themselves. With this new diagnosis, there was a glimmer of hope. For years, I had been unable to work, but the final pieces came together just in time to support my Social Security disability trial. Some of the best medical experts in the country didn't understand my conditions. It was a huge struggle to convince the system and claim my disability insurance benefits. But the bigger fight still lies ahead. There are countless people just like me with neuropathic eye pain. The cause of my symptoms is genetic, and there is currently no cure. It is so rare that studies and articles are almost impossible to find, even now. Chronic eye pain is a debilitating condition, and only a handful of specialists are equipped to handle neuropathic pain. By the time we get our diagnosis, we can be significantly disabled by this pain. A few beacons of hope, like the late Dr. Perry Rosenthal and other maverick ophthalmologists, are all we have. There are no advocacy groups like those for conditions as rare as trigeminal neuralgia or Sjogren's syndrome. A small group of us have gathered on social media, like the Corneal Neuralgia Patients group on Facebook, to support each other. I am constantly amazed by the strength of those who are fighting every day. I hope that I get better and that the breakthrough I need comes through, but more than anything, I hope the next ocular neuropathic pain syndrome patient doesn't have to go through what I did, fighting searing, agonizing pain and vision loss, while also fighting doctors who don't believe patients with invisible disabilities. And I hope that the medical community takes steps to help patients like me and others falling through the cracks with rare diseases. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of our Rare Disease Day Stories bonus podcast series. If you would like to get involved with the Rare Disease Day campaign, or indeed if you would like to share your story if you have been impacted by a rare disease, visit rarediseaseday.org.